Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu came out firmly against a tentative deal announced over the weekend between the United States and Iran. According to the agreement, Washington will release several $billions in frozen Iranian assets in exchange for 5 American prisoners. And ILTV Steve Leibovich reports.
Prime Minister Netanyahu said Israel opposes any deal with Iran that does not include the dismantlement of its nuclear program, arguing that the funds Tehran receives will be funneled to militias. Vacationing in the north, Netanyahu's statement said, arrangements that do not dismantle Iran's nuclear infrastructure will not stop its nuclear program, but will provide funds to terrorist elements sponsored by Iran. The tentative agreement appears to be moving forward, and the American prisoners have already been moved to house arrest.
So this is a positive step, but I don't want to get ahead of its conclusion because there's more work to be done to actually bring them home. My belief is that this is the beginning of the end of their nightmare.
The date for the ultimate release of both the American prisoners and the unfreezing of the funds remains unclear, but U.S. and Iranian officials said they believe the agreement could be completed by mid to late September. The deal came together after months of indirect negotiations between the U.S. and Iranian officials. Details of the money transfer involved Qatar, which mediated the talks. The amount going from Seoul to Iran could be anywhere from $6 billion to $7 billion, depending on exchange rates. The cash represents money South Korea owed Iran, but had not yet paid for oil purchased before the Trump administration imposed sanctions in 2019. The U.S. maintains that once in Qatar, the money will be held in restricted accounts and will only be able to be used for humanitarian goods such as medicine and food.
Iran's own funds would be used and transferred to restricted accounts such that the monies can only be used for humanitarian purposes, which, as you know, is permitted under our sanctions. There's an exemption for humanitarian that's there from the start. We will continue to enforce all of our sanctions.
In a related development, Iran is reportedly slowing some nuclear enrichment, diluting some of its nearly weapons-grade stockpile. The Wall Street Journal says that Tehran has watered down some materials enriched to 60%.